Hello everybody, welcome to Snyder's Inc. And today we got a Dr. Insanity video, and this is when corrupt cops realize they ended their careers. We gonna get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, and comment things down below. Let's go.
Cops usually don't get arrested unless it's a complete last resort, but some cops are so evil, there is no choice but to lock them up. From a cop arrested for speaking with minors,
Jay, I'll be very honest, I want to know the truth.
No, I never even heard of that account.
to a cop committing crimes that gave him 200 years in prison,
And law enforcement are 3 years on, but everything's about your rep.
Absolutely.
And I don't want this to fall on my rep.
here are the most corrupt cops ever to receive the badge. Starting with the case of a man who knew the law better than the corrupt cops who were trying to arrest him.
I'm not giving you any ID.
If you don't, you'll go to jail.
The New Smyrna Beach Police Department launched an internal investigation into these three cops after they were accused of illegally detaining a man who appeared to be doing nothing wrong.
They just don't want you up here anymore.
Okay.
They said you're asking for money and stuff like that.
That's hearsay.
That's-
I say I'm not asking for money.
This is Army veteran Jeff. He was standing outside a local bar raising awareness for homeless veterans when the manager called the cops on him. He's being asked to leave, but it seems as though he knows his rights. However, this cop isn't happy when he starts to argue with him.
I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not.
That's the main thing about cops, right? You'll find most of this with corrupt cops. They hate the fact that you know anything. They want everyone to act like they're stupid compared to them, because the cops have to be smarter than everyone else, in at least their own mind.
Causing anybody any trouble. If he doesn't like it, I'm on the public sidewalk. He doesn't have any authority over me.
Okay, well, you can't be asking people for money and stuff like that.
Even if I was asking people for money, it'd still not be illegal.
Okay, well, that's technically against the city ordinance.
City ordinance is unconstitutional. All right, well, have a good night.
Well, I'm not done with you, so. You guys told?
Yeah, yes, sir.
How you been asking for money?
Yeah. When I went out there, he was on our sidewalk.
Is that who he just stays on the public sidewalk? And
I'd rather he didn't.
I mean, he's not gonna leave. This dude's being, yeah, he's holding a sign saying God bless America, doesn't want to identify himself, saying he doesn't have the right to record me, stuff like that.
In Florida, it's completely legal to record a cop doing their duty in a public place, as long as it's from a safe distance and doesn't obstruct the officer in any way. In fact, if you're in a situation where you feel threatened by the police, it's advisable you begin to record for your own safety.
Can you just move along for me? That's all they want you to do.
I'm not moving along. I put it in my heart to stand here and say this, and this is where I'm going to stand.
Okay.
I'm not answering any further questions. I've never been on their property or anything
Yeah,
like that.
he said you were on your property. On the
Yes, sir, I
property.
was not on their property. And he might be incorrect or misinformed about where his property line begins and ends. I've been standing right here the whole time, saying God bless the homeless person. I'll move along when I get finished doing what I'm doing.
Jeff continues to stand his ground. That is, until more officers arrive on the scene and begin to escalate the situation.
Okay, so you are on a public sidewalk. They're saying that you are asking for money. They have every right to have you move along. And since we're here because they called for you, we have to identify you.
I'm not giving you any ID.
If you don't, you'll go to jail.
Can I reach? I got my ID.
It's,
This is my ID.
you want to play that game.
I'm not showing you anything else. At this point, I'm invoking my right to remain silent. I'm invoking my right to have my attorney present during questions.
Your attorney has nothing to do with us. Okay, your attorney has to do with court. That's not us. We have the right during an
That's not how it works, you fucking morons. The main thing is if you do not have an attorney for questioning, one will be pointed to you. There isn't the questioning attorney unless officers don't want an attorney there and the auditor doesn't count. That's not how the fucking thing works, you fucking imbecile.
investigation to identify you.
I'm not identifying myself.
Okay, so you're going to end up
All
going
right.
to
I
jail.
told him my name is Jeff, and that's all I'm giving you.
Have to
Am I being
identify.
detained at this point?
Yes.
For what?
For the identification of you, which is an investigation that they start.
You can't detain someone for identification. That's not how that works.
Okay, I'm not giving any identification. I'd like to remain silent.
Okay. At this point, you're being detained. Okay. So, you see this? Good.
I don't consent to any searches. I don't consent to any seizures.
Well, you're right now. I'm making sure you have no knives on you. You were breaking the law. What's this?
There's 2 magazines in my left pocket.
Okay. I want to make sure that you understand that you're forcing a hand that doesn't need to be forced. Have you guys been out here the whole time?
Yeah, I've been in and out.
Is he asking for money?
He was standing out here with the sign. I didn't hear him ask for money. No.
Okay. So
Either way, my employee's uncomfortable with them standing out here.
okay.
Hold on, you just contradicted yourself. You said yes when they said, "Will you ask for money?" Now you're saying you never heard him ask for money?
I'll contact the sergeant, but if he's out here, there's not much we can do about that, especially since if he's not begging for money, and,
So even though my employee's uncomfortable and now I know he's armed, that's okay,
which he's legally allowed to be.
right?
Yeah.
It doesn't. A lot of people are legally allowed to be that shouldn't be, apparently.
So, to put it simply, Jeff hadn't broken any laws whatsoever. He was standing on public property, raising awareness for something completely protected by free speech, and any issues the employees had with that were their problem.
I just asked the guy who's sitting on the porch, and he says he didn't hear you beg for money. And so the only person who has a complaint about you standing on city property, which is not his problem, which is what I was explaining to him.
Jeff was allowed to leave, and this should have been where the story ended. But there's one thing we haven't mentioned. At the time of this stop, panhandling, or asking strangers for money, was not illegal in the state of Florida. This means that not only was Jeff harassed and falsely arrested for a crime he didn't commit, but it wasn't even a crime in the first place. These cops have a lot to
Yeah, so if they, so that's a good point. So even if they would have arrested him for, if the guy would have said he did ask for money, once they would have arrested him, they would have had no charges because it's not fucking illegal. So they tried to arrest him for fucking nothing.
explain, and things only got worse.
At approximately 1927 hours on Tuesday, December 14th, 2021, were you dispatched to a call for service identified as a suspicious person at the New Smyrna Brewery located at 143 Canal Street?
Yes.
What did they tell you?
The call note started out saying that there was a male dressed in all black. Originally, he was asking for money from people that sat in there, and that's all I read because I was right around the corner from the scene.
So what crime were you intending to investigate there?
Well, at that point, they said that he was at or in the business, and the business owner just wanted him to be moved along.
Do they call that panhandling or asking for money is what it said in the call notes?
Yes.
Is panhandling a crime or a city ordinance violation?
It's not a city ordinance violation.
Why did you tell Mr. Gray that asking for money is technically against city ordinance?
At that point, I thought panhandling was a city ordinance violation.
What's the state statute refer to?
Like if you're blocking, like stepping out in traffic, blocking people's right to move.
So it's a 316 violation for some type of impediment of traffic.
Right.
If
It's a
you're
traffic violation.
soliciting or entering traffic patterns, right? That wasn't the case here, was it?
No.
Okay.
A 316 violation in this case.
See, why is this not done more when officers fuck up? This is perfectly done. You made sure you did an interview. You get all your facts. You make sure they know what the fuck they're on about. Every single nook and cranny of it. You don't miss you want them give all information.
This includes any situation where a pedestrian walks on a road where there is a sidewalk provided. This relates to panhandling, as many people like to stand near intersections and approach cars that can't move away due to traffic. But as Jeff was on the sidewalk, he wasn't guilty of obstructing any traffic. That's the first problem revealed. But things get even worse when this officer is asked if there was even a crime committed at all.
Did you have any reasonable or articulable suspicion that Mr. Gray committed, was committing, or was about to commit a crime or a violation of city ordinance?
At that point, I believed he might have, so that's why I went back out and re-engaged with him. I thought we had something maybe stirring up.
So at this point, you're still thinking panhandling is a city ordinance
Yes.
violation,
Yes.
and you're acting on that assumption
Yes.
to try to continue the investigation?
Yes.
Okay.
Usually, like when we investigate other crimes and stuff like that, we listen to both sides of the stories, come back, talk to each other. I don't know where that happened, maybe because he was flustered with him.
Do you think that would have been a more prudent course of action to continue the investigation and figure out what's going on?
I do, yes.
Rightly, this officer is starting to sense that he might be in a spot of trouble. But instead of taking this on the chin, he instead starts to pin some of the blame on his partner.
Did you hear Officer Beatty tell Mr. Gray that if he didn't identify himself, he was going to go to jail?
I did, yes.
Okay.
I definitely think that when he got there, that the course of action he took probably was not the best one. And I kind of wish that we would have went back and had him talk to the business owner, and then have him talk to me. I think that we skipped over that step, and he went straight to going hands-on with him.
Taking a look at Officer Beatty's investigation tape, it seems that both of the officers have realized their mistakes, but still claim that they were right to place Jeff in handcuffs at the time, even suggesting that he was baiting them into it.
During the call, I was on.
Baited him in. He wasn't IDing himself. It's not mock. He didn't have to. It's not baiting you in because you want to handcuff someone and you want to do ID when they don't have to give it to you and they don't just immediately cooperate. That doesn't give you the right to handcuff. That's also not baiting you in, you fuck.
Under the impression that he was actually on private property and trespassed, that he was asked to leave, and that his waitresses were scared. Looking back, hindsight, I could have investigated further.
He was baiting. No question about it. This guy was probably, in my opinion, doing stuff that would elicit the very call that came into to dispatch.
What the fuck does that even? What does that even mean? What does that even mean? He was doing things that would get the exact call. What does that even mean? What the fuck are you on about? The man was standing on the sidewalk. That's all that man was doing. The end of the day, he didn't commit a crime. He was standing on the sidewalk. That doesn't give him people right to call the police. That doesn't mean he's doing fuck all.
He wanted in order to create the confusion.
A good cop who knows the law and knows how to exercise it shouldn't even be able to be baited in the first place.
Agreed.
It's concerning that a man simply standing on public property, spreading awareness for a good cause, can be mistreated by police officers and told he's at fault for their mistake. Luckily, there are good cops out there, and the final officer involved in the investigation got straight to the point when asked to describe his point of view.
I asked Beatty why he was detained, and he told me that he was detained because he was refusing to identify himself. And I said, well, for what crime are you investigating? And he said that he was investigating panhandling. And he said it's against city ordinance. And I told him, no, it's not against city ordinance. And he said, well, it's against state statute as well. And I said, it's not against state statute. I told him, I said that from what you're telling me.
God, that's even worse. So the guy who had ordered him, he's like, hey, what? He's like, he's not identifying himself. He goes, for what crime you, investigating him? He goes, panhandling. I'm like, it's not city, well, he goes, it's against city ordinance. I'm like, no, it's not. And then he was like, well, it's against state statute. That's why he's like, no, it's not either. The guy was, listen, I'm gonna arrest this fucker. Can you stop acting like a good cop once you fucking... Probably was just mumbling to himself, fucking stupid cop. Why is there always good cops out there? Why can't I just arrest this guy? Because he fucking wouldn't just immediately cooperate and bow to my will.
To me, it sounds like you had no legal authority to seize the gentleman or his firearm. If you don't have a crime to investigate, you can't seize the person.
It's unknown what happened to these cops after the investigation, but we can only hope that they received the same treatment as the cops in Patrick Mumford's case. Patrick was just getting back home when two officers confronted him, claiming there were warrants out for his arrest. What the cops didn't realize, though, is that the warrants were for a completely different man, but this didn't seem to bother them.
They saw one thing, a teenager who's black. That is all they need to see for them to go, gotta be him. Because for some reason, they can't register in their fucking head that there were people, more than one black person in an area. I don't know what it is, but they will be told a neighborhood and a black person. And instead of assuming that there could be multiple black people, they will see the first black person, they'll think that's the only black person, so they'll have to arrest that person. It's fucking weird. I don't understand it. It's fucking dumb.
What's your name? I'm going to ask you one more time. We probably need to talk to you. So, what's your name? Stand up. Turn around, put your hands in the car. What happened?
Patrick is justifiably nervous here after suddenly being confronted by multiple police officers, but still manages to give the cops his name. However, they decide that they don't believe him, and instead of asking for an ID...
This is another that's so weird. Why would you go, what's your name? And when he tells you a name, you don't believe his name. What name do you want? You can't ask a man for his name if you're just gonna assume whatever he tells you is a lie, because it's a waste of fucking time. If you're gonna be like, okay, if he not telling me the name I need to go arrest him, then it's clearly he's lying. See, this is why these videos are what gets me heated, gets me fired up.
Or trying to confirm his identity and confronted by multiple immediately decide to.
That's another weird thing. Why the fuck are you asking for ID? If it's his other guy, he ain't gonna give you ID. If he has ID, do you know how fucking dumb that makes him look?
Do this instead.
What I do? Man, what I do? Y'all ain't telling me what I do, man. You got a warrant. You got a warrant. He just came back from his probation officer.
I got taser. You coming out? You coming out? Hey, come out.
Get your hands out now. You got 3 seconds. Hold on, man. 3 seconds. Do not reach. Get up. Put your hands on the car. Show me the warrant.
Come out.
Show me the warrant. 2.
All
right, take me.
Move. You coming out or not?
Dude, stand back.
Come out. You got a warrant.
I'm not telling you again.
You better get out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car.
Man, y'all better leave me alone, cousin.
Move, Fox, move!
It took just 38 seconds from the police making first contact to giving the order to tase him. According to the cops, Patrick was given numerous reasonable opportunities to comply with officers, but because of his resistance, they were left with no choice but to stun him. But even after being tased and detained, the cops still aren't finished roughing Patrick up.
Something was going on, man. Just off me, man.
He keeps reaching for his back.
Ah!
Quit resisting. I got him, guys. Just search whatever he's going for.
The cops searched Patrick to try and find whatever he was reaching for, assuming he was hiding a weapon of his own. But predictably, they find nothing other than his wallet. This would end up being a blessing for Patrick, though, as inside his wallet, the cops found his ID.
I just seen this fucking lady.
Patrick Mumford.
This lady not gonna tell me that I got a warrant. I just seen her.
Here's the deal, dude.
How long I had a warrant?
I don't know if you got a warrant, because you're not who I'm looking for, but here's the deal. When we ask you for ID, because you look a lot like the...
You never asked him for ID. You said, what's your name? And before he answered with the question, you decided he was lying and decided to arrest him. You never once asked him for ID, you dumb fucks.
person we're you give us ID, and when you start this whole fighting nonsense, dude, all you had to do is give me this.
But the way you came up, asked me out of nowhere.
Remember, the cops never once asked for Patrick's ID during the initial interaction. In a later report, the cops also stated that they were worried he was reaching for a weapon when he was shuffling back in the car. So, do you think they would have been okay with him reaching into his back pocket for his wallet? He wasn't given any chance to correctly identify himself, but now the cop is patronizing him and saying he caught a case he didn't need to get. And above all, he's still being manhandled and forced onto the hood of their patrol vehicle.
What's the guy name?
Is there someone here to stay here that looks like you? Think about it.
Hey, Jack. Yeah. Guess what he's looking for?
Tell him. Who does he look a lot like?
I don't know.
He knows who it is.
This is what's hilarious. Is once they say the name, I guarantee you, please, Dr. Insanity, tell you, please put up a picture of the actual guy. I guarantee you they don't look alike.
So who is it?
Michael?
He is not Michael.
Okay, I know that now.
Well, they thought it was my son?
Yes!
Really? They don't even look nothing alike?
And then besides, they didn't even have picture that we got.
They look so much alike. Don't you understand? They're black. That's all they need to be to look alike. They could have 65 tattoos. One could have 65 tattoos and fucked up thing. They just see the color black. Must be alike.
Look exactly.
Oh, wow. I'm looking at that picture.
I have never seen where the mother of the kid, who they're actually looking for, is insulted by the police not looking at them. They're like, they're looking for they thought you were my son, yes. They don't even look alike. The fuck you doing?
Don't they look alike? Wrong. Okay, are we wrong?
For the record, this is the man they're looking for. It's difficult to draw even a single similarity in
No! They don't look like at all.
appearance, but the cops apparently saw so many that they were comfortable with
They saw one. We all know what it is. They fucking only saw one.
is charging a weapon at Patrick. Patrick was initially charged with obstruction and violating probation, and was fixed to lose his job and position at college. Thankfully though, an internal investigation was launched into the 4 officers on the scene, and it was concluded that they didn't follow proper procedure. All 4 of the officers were suspended, and Patrick was awarded with a settlement of $100,000. Being arrested because of mistaken identity is harrowing enough, but being arrested because of the color of your skin must be terrifying. Especially
We've seen this one many a times. This one always pisses me off.
When a cop wants to play games. On July 15th, 2018, Montre and his friend were pulled over by the police. The stop started out normal, but quickly evolved into a perfect display of how cops will try to force you into a false confession through corruption, and in this case, racism.
What's going on, guys? Not much. Is this your car?
Well, it's a rental right now. My car's been shot.
Okay. Did something break down?
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. You guys just came from over at the park, right?
Yeah, we're just hanging out.
That's it? Is this your car?
I just told you my car's in the shop, officer. This is a rental.
Okay. How do you start it?
This was a smart. This is a thing that will always. You will see this officer. This is the trick. This officer just tries to get something, any little nook that can make him believe these guys are getting a crime, just so they can arrest them. Luckily enough, this guy is smarter than this fucking officer, because they got nothing out of him. They detained him, put him in a car, everything, and got nothing out of him. And by the end of it, they had to let him go. This officer tried any trick, even at the end, and trying to, fucking play nice to get a confession. Got nothing out of this fucking guy. Which is good, because the guy did nothing wrong.
What do you mean? I just put my foot on the brake and I put it in drive and I...
Okay.
Officer.
At first, this may seem like a harmless question, but asking the driver, Montre Little, how to start the car essentially implies that the cop thinks he stole it. If Montre was unfamiliar with the vehicle, he would have likely struggled to remember how to start it. And if he fumbled around a little before remembering, it could imply he was under the influence. But Montre kept his composure and passes this first test totally fine. The cop, however, still isn't impressed and decides to take things further by tricking Montre into giving his property over.
So it's your car, though? Did they give you a fob or something?
My car, officer.
Did they give you a key fob or something? Or?
Yes, sir. Officer.
Like, what does it do? Does it?
You see, this actually lets you know that it's in.
Okay. Do you have any weapons on you or in the car?
No, officer.
Okay, can I be honest with you? It smells like marijuana in the car, and I can see shake on the ground. Your buddy's giving me the idea that maybe he's got a gun.
This makes me laugh so hard, that part. That one always is what makes me look like fucking want to smack this officer. What the hell does that mean? What did the guy do? This guy literally was sitting in his chair, in the seat, barely moving. What exactly did he do to make you believe he had a gun?
You know what I mean? Like, that's what I think.
How?
I don't know. Just the way.
Just
the way you're holding yourself, man. Like, that's why we're nervous, man. That's it.
Not only did the officer mislead Montre into giving the keys over, but he's also suddenly decided he can smell marijuana in the vehicle, and based purely on a hunch that the passenger is hiding a weapon. Both of these things, especially the marijuana smell, are often used as a reason to search the vehicle, bypassing the need for consent by the property owner.
This is that is a case that needs to be looked at more fondly. That is a law that needs to be studied a bit more. Because I think it's used to an insane degree, to the point that I feel like it might need to be changed. Because you have no idea how many times officers use that to look at a vehicle. If they want to look at a vehicle because they think just for no reason, because they just someone's black and they think it's suspicious, or they just think for some reason that the person's suspicious, but they have nothing to go off of, they will suddenly just say, I smell marijuana. Now I can search your vehicle. That's all it takes. And they'll find nothing, but that's their way to look in the car.
The speed and order in which the officer works here is extremely suspicious. Confiscating the keys without even mentioning it implies that he already decided he was going to search the vehicle, and that he was trying to make Montre feel helpless or even threatened. Emotions you can clearly see on his face as they're stolen from him.
Go ahead and step out, Montre. Yep, I just told you why. 3 times. You want me to recap again? I mean, I told you I'm a cop. Face the car when you step out. Face the car when you step out. Face the car when you step out. Don't flex. Don't flex. I don't know what you're doing, man, but you need to knock that off. Step.
This is the only one that this also saying because he like, can't step out of the car while you're moving, sir. You're moving direction. I told you to. What the hell you doing, man? My man, you're moving your arm, putting my hand behind the back, man. I think you got. I'm waiting for him to just like. Guy's suspicious by the movement. Like this officer would give the guys an order, and then when the guy does exactly what he says, he'd be fucking suspicious. Like, why are you doing that, dude? Why are you following my orders, man?
Stop pulling on your arms. What's going on, dude? Where are you trying to? What are you doing, dude?
Officer, I'm not doing nothing to you.
Well, you're making me think something funny's going on, man.
You're acting like a psychopath.
Okay, so slide over. I mean, your heart is thumping, dude. Like you're beating.
Officer, don't, please.
Everything the cop has done and said so far is textbook in terms of corruption. This is obviously a serious event for Montre, but the cop is deliberately trying to be lighthearted and jovial about the whole thing, using words such as funny and silly to purposefully seem condescending. He also mentions that Montre's heart is beating fast and that he seems nervous. Another classic observation that appears time and time again in these cases. Think back to the stop of Marion Humphrey, whose truck was searched for the sole reason that he seemed nervous. Innocent civilians such as Montre will always feel anxious or even angry in this situation, and it's an easy observation for cops to make to detain them and obtain probable cause, which is exactly what the cop did.
I feel like I know what the last one will be, or at least the last one in this video will be, but I could be wrong, because this could go... I know one that will be on here, and it pisses me off every time, but I'm curious where it will be in this length of video.
The search uncovered nothing illegal in Montre's car, but the cop kept him in the back of his patrol vehicle. This is where things start to get really shady.
I did everything you asked me to, officer. You thought there was a weapon. There's no weapon. We wasn't doing anything wrong, officer. I'm not sure why you pulled me over. At your rental, everything is fine. There was no breaking taillight or nothing, officer. I did nothing wrong with you.
Did I make anything up when I said the car smelled like marijuana?
Yeah, a little bit.
Hold on.
Because there's nobody smoking in the car.
Is there marijuana shake on the floor of the car?
Officer, that was cigarette ash, okay? You didn't find no marijuana.
I'm not charging.
This is my thing with this officer. This officer tried so hard to get everything. I major props for this guy. I keep forgetting his name. But this guy knew how to handle himself here. I feel like this is a guy who thought quickly. But his brain, like, he's able to think quickly. Because this guy knew, don't say nothing stupid. Any question this guy asks, don't say nothing stupid.
You and marijuana. But here's what. If you want me to be real with you, like I want you to be real with me for a second. Like, did I make that up?
I believe so, officer.
Okay, so you want me to just write you the ticket for the stuff that I have to write you tickets for? If you think that I'm lying, like, then we'll go to court and we'll talk about it then.
Okay.
Or do you want to just be real with me and I'll be real with you?
Wow, officer.
Montre is being aggressively backed into a corner. The cop obviously knows that he's done something wrong. He's only trying to get Montre to forget about it and move past it without further incident. When he doesn't, the cop threatens him by saying he'll write up the ticket and he'll have to take it to court, where it'll essentially be Montre versus the world. It's also important to remember that cops are allowed to lie and use deceptive tactics to extract a confession. If Montre had told him that he didn't make up the smell, then in a weird, twisted way, he essentially just admitted to possessing illegal drugs. Luckily, Montre maintained his story and was reluctantly let go by the cops. Just days later, Montre sued the city and after a year of fighting, reached a settlement of $75,000 based on an unlawful traffic stop and warrantless search. The cop was removed from patrol duty, but not fired, despite leading one of the most callous displays of
Officer, I'm not surprised. I feel like 95% of the time in these videos, we are not going to see anyone lose their job. Barely anyone ever loses their job in these cases. So, it's pretty fucking obvious. They all just say, you're suspended without pay. Then after a certain while, they think, okay, dust is probably settled, you go back to your job. It's always how it goes.
Corruption ever caught on camera. But the police are extremely good at one-upping themselves when it comes to corruption. Take, for example, the time when 2 Californian cops...
I'm glad it wasn't that guy because I thought it was like I skipped that guy. I'm skipping that. I don't want to see that guy anymore.
Essentially kidnapped a man eating lunch in his own car.
What's going on?
You live around here?
Hey, don't touch,
Relax, bro. Relax. Hey, you match the description of somebody, okay, that just committed a burglary in the area. Okay, you're on.
Let me guess. Black guy. That's all I'm gonna assume. Black guy. All they need to see to go, black guy. It's a black guy, there's a car here, the black guy's clearly not immediately doing something. Must be the guy. Immediately the thought.
Camera, so don't step out of the car.
Is your body cam on?
It's on.
Yes,
it's on.
Step on out, dude.
We'll explain everything to you, okay? Just step out of the car. Step out of the car.
I'm not stepping out of the car.
You're being detained for a burglary investigation, okay, sir? So step out.
No.
Do you live in the area?
I'm not answering any questions. I want my lawyer.
Okay, step out of the car. You're being detained right now. All right? Step out of the car.
Firstly, the suspect named Jamal Williams does everything right. He tells the cops he's not answering any questions until he has a lawyer. Unfortunately for him, though, the cops aren't having any of it because he matches the description of a suspect that
matches the description.
Technically gives them the right to detain him while they investigate further. What's interesting is that the only description the cops had was that it was a black male wearing all black in his early 20s, possibly a red t-shirt underneath. Jamal is 40 years old, wearing a red hoodie and gray sweatpants. It's also incredibly hard to punish cops for detaining someone that doesn't match that description, as they could just say they thought he did. In general, the system...
Yep, this is an easy thing they could do. They could beat that. They could do all the dares to this guy. Be like, yeah, we thought he matched the description. And they're just done. That's it. Then they won't be punished. They saw a black guy in a red hoodie. That's all they went with. Did ID him? Didn't do anything. Just immediately detained him.
System is very lackluster, but it shouldn't necessarily harm or bother Jamal. Not unless the cops do this.
Sir, step on out, dude.
You're on camera, dude, so don't do anything dumb, okay?
Hold on, dude. I'm gonna get this on camera.
Go ahead, you can record. Step out of the car, please.
He's being aggressive.
Hey,
stop resisting, dude.
Stop resisting.
I'm just. Why are you? What? No, man.
Okay. Get out of the car.
Call your supervisor. Call your supervisor. Call your supervisor.
So this guy was cooperating until the officer said he's being aggressive. Then the guy stopped the cooperating because he's like, all right, you ain't getting that on me. No, and then it got worse.
Call your supervisor. Call your supervisor. Call your supervisor. Stop, dude. Call your supervisor.
And I guarantee you, they'll justify this arrest to the people.
Call your supervisor. Call your supervisor. I'm gonna chase you, dude. Call your supervisor. Get out. Call your supervisor. Yeah, call your supervisor. I got Give me your hand. I don't give you consent to touch me. Don't reach. I don't give you consent to touch me. Don't reach. I don't give you consent. Handcuff.
Initially, Jamal showed no signs of aggression and no signs of resisting. He was just trying to open his phone to record the interaction for his own safety. Nevertheless, the cop immediately said he's being aggressive as Jamal was willingly stepping out of the car.
Step out of the car, please.
He's being aggressive.
This obviously frustrated Jamal, and he later admitted from then he did try and stay inside the vehicle. But the amount of force the cops used from here on was completely unwarranted. One cop even pulled a taser and threatened to use it on Jamal, despite him posing no actual threat. Jamal is then handcuffed and kept face down on the tarmac while multiple other patrol vehicles arrive at the scene. For a man guilty of nothing other than eating his lunch, that sure is a lot of cops.
If we take these off...
Hold on, so let's count. Right now, we got the guy filming. So the body cam we got. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 officers so far.
Are you going to cause a problem? Are you going to kick any windows out, anything like that?
I don't answer questions.
This guy made a... He's like... I don't know. He's like... He just get so annoyed with this guy. Fucking... He just fucking answer the question.
You can leave him on then. That's fine.
That's fine.
Which one do I put
stand
him
him up and get him to a car? Just leave him here until fire season. We'll make it easy.
He doesn't want to walk because he doesn't want to answer questions and we'll just leave him. All right, cool. Is your first name Jamal? That's who the car is.
I don't give you consent to go on my car and check my car. I don't give you consent to check my car. You're violating my 4th Amendment constitutional right.
So I think we can move forward and try to at least get him in the back seat.
Yeah, that's fine. What's your name again? Now, why are you guys kidnapped? I can't talk to you until you help me out. Tell me, why am I being kidnapped? Well, if anything we do, we'll figure that out. I'll let you know. Okay?
Why is the officer's first response not, you're not being kidnapped, but instead his response is, I'll let you know why you're being kidnapped. I'll get back to you on that one. I'll get back to you why you're being kidnapped. I'll get back to you on that.
Find a car and put it in there. Okay. We'll talk when he gets in here.
At this point, there are over a dozen cops at the scene, and Jamal is fully restrained in both handcuffs and leg wraps. He's also already been cleared to not be the suspect, yet he's still taken to the patrol car, fully restrained, and put in the back seat. It's also important to note that the cops were able to identify and clear Jamal by running his plates, something they could have done in secret before even approaching him. The worst part is that even after all of this, Jamal still wasn't free. He was cleared of the burglary charge, but he was instead hit
Fucking knew they'd say it. I knew they'd find stories to charge him.
with a felony charge of resisting arrest and taken to jail. Jamal later filed a formal complaint with the LA Sheriff's Department.
Which was denied.
But just as another example of how corrupt this system is, they were allowed to investigate themselves.
This is always the problem. That will always be my problem with the fucking police, with any police department. It should not be allowed in any situation for a police department to investigate their own service, their own officers. Because it's never fully justified. It's never fully fair. Ever. It never is. Do you know how much, plus for fucking LA, are you fucking serious? Los Angeles has like the worst fucking police department. God.
And as you'd expect, they found no evidence of any
Of course.
wrongdoing.
Of
Months
course.
later, Jamal filed a civil rights lawsuit against the arresting officers. Unfortunately, though, the story remains much the same. The officers were investigated by a police lieutenant, and after analyzing the body cam footage, it was concluded that Jamal's actions turned the interaction confrontational, and that the arresting officers were courteous throughout the entire event. Jamal's charges were dropped, but no charges were brought against either of the cops. Violence is one
They always keep the job. I've told this many times. The officers always will keep the job, and the police department investigating, guaranteed nothing happens to them.
thing, but that's not the only way that corrupt cops can screw you over. These two cops were a perfect example of another creative method they often use.
This is the one I fucking knew of. This is the one I knew would be on there, because this is the one where they looked at each other and said, we need to find something, and suddenly something's found after they drop it.
Planting evidence.
Yep.
A little bit of weed. On the 13th of March, 2018, Officer Kyle Erickson and his partner pulled over Jason Serrano and his friend for an apparent broken taillight. However, this stop ended up getting seriously out of hand when a cop tried to plant evidence.
The car smells like marijuana, so we're gonna check it, alright? Okay, and then what? Then that's it, then I gotta make sure everything's good with your end, just get the taillight fixed. There's nothing in the car, you'll be good to go, alright?
Immediately, the cops claim they can smell marijuana in the car and say that they're gonna have to search it. Usually, a civilian has the right to refuse a search, but if the cops have probable cause to believe a suspect has committed a crime, they can bypass that right and
This is the issue I always have with office. This is the one thing. That's why I say the thing with marijuana needs to be looked at, I think, better. It never will. No matter what, it will always be the same easy, able to use thing for corrupt cops, but it needs to be looked at better.
search their property without consent. Smelling weed on the property technically counts as probable cause, and because it's impossible to dispute while looking at body cam footage, it's often used as a way for corrupt cops to easily begin a search without the suspect's permission or a warrant.
We need to check the car, so I need you to hop out.
Okay, I'm getting out.
Okay.
Relax. I don't have nothing for me. I can tell you moving.
Hang out with me.
I don't have nothing in my jacket. I'm not.
Okay, well, he's gonna check it.
I don't have nothing in. No,
relax.
No, I don't need to be.
This situation is about to escalate for no reason.
No, because I didn't do nothing.
It was in the car.
No, this is on
you need
me.
to relax.
It's my possession. Come on. Relax.
Relax. Relax.
Relax. Put that jacket down right now.
Put the jacket down. Cuff him up.
For the rest of the body cam footage, Jason is left on the ground handcuffed and visibly in pain from the takedown. It took almost 20 minutes for an ambulance to arrive. It's unclear on the body cam footage, but with how much pain Jason is in, it's obvious that an unnecessary amount of force was used to take him down. So for the cops, this is just where the story begins. And you
Because that's their reason, and now they need to find something. Because if not, they're about to get sued.
can see the exact moment reality sets in for them.
Alright, I'm searching the rest of the car. Actually, I'll let you check. Yeah. There's my flashlight. I'll stay with him.
The officers are fully aware that they've hurt Jason, and if their car turns up empty, all they've done is searched a car without a warrant and used excessive force to unlawfully detain a civilian. However, if they do find something illegal, then all of that should magically go away, as Jason and the driver go from civilians to criminals, and they're just helping bring them to justice. At this point, it's not necessarily just about race, they're trying to save themselves after making a violent mistake. Obviously, this is horribly corrupt, but nevertheless, the stakes are high for the cops. Their jobs are on the line, and they have to find something.
I guarantee you still, because I don't remember fully, but I guarantee you, even when you say their job is on the line, I guarantee you still, neither of them are fired. None of them are fired. I guarantee you.
He has a proper documentation for the plates. Temporary registration is valid. Just ran there, permit only. He doesn't have a driver's license. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And just see if my partner found anything yet.
See nothing.
Nothing?
After searching the entire vehicle for about 5 minutes, the cops turn up nothing, and they both start to seem more and more agitated. But here's where things start to take a dark and shady turn. When the officers fail to turn up anything, they decide to get a little creative.
See nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a little bit of weed.
Without even...
This is the part that's insane. How did this officer do this and not think he was gonna come? How many times have these officers done this? This can't be the only time. Because you know what the problem with this? This is the thing with this. That if they, all guys don't get fired, I don't get. Because if I'm the person who runs the department, right, and I see with this. This means every drug-related arrest I now have to look back into. I would have to look at every single drug-related arrest involving these officers. Every one. It doesn't matter how far ago I'd have to check because you would never know when this officer started doing this. Because you can now wonder how many more other cases would be like this.
Been trying to hide it from his camera, the detective places a small bud of marijuana in the cup holder of the vehicle where he's already checked multiple times. The way the officer does this without even trying to hide it implies that he's almost certain that this will never come back to haunt them.
Right?
And even suggests that this might not be his first time.
Oh, no way is this not the first. He's done this multiple fucking times. He's clearly known how to do this.
Doing it either. In fact, the way the cops have been talking to each other the entire time indicates that this might just be a regular step in their process.
You good? Good? Yeah.
All of a sudden, the cops have a case against Jason. During the stop, they smelled marijuana in the car. Jason became combative after they asked to search it, so they took him down and searched the car, where they found not only a small piece in the cup holder, but even flakes in his jacket. This is the story that Jason was taken to trial over, and he was charged with marijuana possession, resisting arrest, and obstructing governmental administration. It took over 2 years for this body cam footage to emerge, and only then would Jason's charges be dropped. Predictably, no charges were brought against the officers, but it did raise an important question. What else has been caught on?
That's what I'm saying. You see what I was saying? I knew nothing fucking happened. This guy took 2 years, and by the time the 2 years were up, they right there like, there was all the thing. They're like, fuck. okay, we gotta let him go. You got the body cam thing, they're like, what, we got him? I'm like, no, the body cam footage got public, we gotta release him now. Drop the charges, release him. I said to have now y'all fine, fucking hell, it's like nothing. You're not gonna do anything, not fucking, just let him go so as to get, because the footage went public. It would have kept him knowing you did that still, but you know.
On these cameras that's being hidden from us. It's incredible how many cops completely forget that they're on camera 24/7. Just like these cops.
This is actually a question I have for cops. Are body cameras checked? Like, at all? Like, are they all, or like, is all body cameras checked for arrest? Like, fully, or like, anything? Or is it literally just, you kind of do it if the case needs it? This is a genuine question. I'm actually just genuinely curious.
Cops did when they got caught in the act by their own dash cam.
Because this is a scenario where officers, I feel, like the last case should have been a case, I would think, where you would obviously check the body cam. But apparently not. So do they not check body cameras if an arrest is made? Do they just assume that it must all be good?
I'm on the side of the road, legally parked, with a sign which is protected by the First Amendment.
When officers see a man holding up a sign on the side of the road in March of 2022, they decide to pull over and check it out. The man named Jonathan was warning drivers of the speed trap that they were about to drive past. These two officers took offense big time.
Nothing. I'm gonna do it right here where I'm at. So I'm not.
I have drivers coming up to me telling me that you're jumping out in traffic.
Because apparently they're erroneous. I don't give a what somebody else says. What did you witness? Nothing of the sort. So keep your to yourself, pal.
Traffic fines make up a percentage of police department's budget, and these Delaware cops didn't want Jonathan to stand in their way of that crucial source of income. But Jonathan isn't accepting their claims that he's been walking into the road and stands his ground.
You keep saying jumping in traffic. When did you witness this offense? Don't you came to me. You came to me. You came to me. You came to me.
Just to tell me that you're jumping out front with the sign.
So they want to lick your boots. Let them. Don't put your hands on me.
But what one officer does next may have completely violated this citizen's right to express himself.
Don't put your hands on me. Do not. Give me my property back. You piece of. Give me my property back. You see this? You tyrant piece of what are your badge numbers?
Step back, okay?
No,
don't walk up
no, you
like
stole my property.
Did you see anything in my hands?
You
stole
piece
your property? Have a nice day.
Jonathan goes on to tell the
Yes, yeah, I'm sorry, I'll admit it. If someone did that to me, if an officer did that to me, oh, I'd be arrested. Oh, I'd be arrested. 100%, I'd give them a reason to arrest me.
officers that he's going to be right back here with a new sign as soon as he can. As he drives away, he makes an insulting hand gesture towards the cops, and of course, they pull him over for it. What happens over the course of this traffic stop is not just dumb, it's downright corrupt.
You're stopping me for constitutionally protected speech, right?
Because you had your hand out the window.
This is what I did. You got a problem with that?
Sir, listen to me. Listen to me.
No.
All right, listen.
Go away.
Disorderly conduct.
No, it is not.
That is disorderly conduct.
That is called freedom of speech.
If you are out in the public,
you
are out in the public and people see you.
No, it is not.
Here's what's going to happen.
No.
License, please.
No.
Here's what's going to happen.
I want your supervisor, please.
I am the supervisor. And that's why I'm here.
Both officers seem to be stumbling over exactly what they have pulled them over for, and it's honestly starting to look embarrassing at this point.
And I'm going to take you to court.
Well, here's what I'm saying. Take it to court. That's what I want you to do. That's what I want you. I want you to take it to court.
But before we go any farther, you're pulling me over for what?
Because you had your finger out.
Disorderly conduct.
Now,
what?
here's what's about to happen. You're about to be arrested again for resisting arrest.
No, I'm not resisting anything.
Right now you're being detained.
For what?
You're being detained.
I told you
why I stopped you already, sir.
For putting my middle finger up. That's correct? Correct.
No, exactly.
Correct.
You extended your arm out the window.
No, I had my middle finger out the window.
Okay, let me get your ID. You had your middle finger out the window.
It appears the officers are trying to arrest him on any charges they can, and when that doesn't work, they resort to dirty tricks.
The next thing you do, we're going to take you in, we're going to tow the car, and we'll call social services for the kid.
Oh, so now you're threatening. Now you're threatening my child.
No, it's not a threat. It's a promise.
You're threatening my child now.
I'm telling you what's going to happen.
You heard the officer right. He's just threatened to get social services involved and have Jonathan's child taken away from him. But what makes this case even more shocking is the fact that these two cops planned to lock him up, whatever it took, and it was all recorded on their own dash cam.
I'm telling you, if you put your arm out the road, your hand out the road, and you like, with a middle finger, you could, that's like a, isn't that? I'm pretty sure. You sure about that? Middle finger. Okay. As you drive by, like, oh, game on.
I mean, he pulled him over for like giving him the middle finger.
Yeah, for giving the middle finger. So
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah.
That'll get dropped.
yeah, it's gonna get thrown. I told him that's gonna get thrown out, but it's just going, it's gonna cause the problem.
Even after they're told by their supervisor that the charges will be thrown out, they still have a grand plan to put Jonathan in handcuffs.
Right.
Yeah, something like that'll fly. Unfortunately, I mean,
Yeah.
you can't. We can't pull people over. We can't write them tickets for telling us to fuck off or giving us a middle finger and stuff like that. And,
Yeah.
That's their right to do so.
Yeah.
But all right, I'll do some more work up on this guy, and I'll pass it on.
And then number two, we have no real basis. Yeah. So he's going to do something stupid one day where we are going to be able to lock him up for disorderly conduct and I just wish we had the witness and even had it on video.
In the end, Jonathan filed a lawsuit against the officers, saying they violated his constitutional rights by preventing him from warning motorists about a speed trap. In September 2023, he won the case and was awarded a $50,000 settlement sum.
Wow. So he got $50,000 because of the fucking stupidity of these officers.
Next cop appeared to be the model officer. That was until detectives uncovered his chilling secret. This is Grant Hardin, a 50-year-old police officer hiding a horrifying secret. Grant has been apprehended on suspicion of murder, but as it would later transpire, his crimes and behavior were so bad that in his interrogation, he tried everything he possibly could to escape. On the 23rd of February, James Appleton had pulled into a parking lot on Ganridge Road to take a phone call with his brother-in-law. Suddenly,
Oh, I remember this guy, because this is the officer I was actually impressed by. This was a criminal I was actually impressed by. Because he's a former officer, he doesn't buy into fucking anything this guy said. There was nothing the interrogator could do to break this officer.
a loud banging sound was heard over the phone, and the line went dead. A passerby had spotted a white Chevrolet Malibu parked behind James's car that immediately sped away after the loud noise. When the passerby went to check on James, he was lying dead at the wheel, with a gunshot wound to the head. Gateway, Arkansas is a small town of 400 people, so the owner of the Chevy was quickly determined to be Grant Hardin, a 50-year-old police officer who had lived in this town his whole life. Later that night, Grant's vehicle was stopped at a police roadblock after taking his family out for dinner, and he was quickly brought in for questioning. But unfortunately for everyone involved, Grant's experience in law enforcement would prove to make this interrogation one of the most excruciating and difficult that Arkansas police had ever had to deal with.
I'm Detective Chamberlain. I know we have James Chamberlain. Okay. Did you used to be a police officer somewhere? Or, I recognized you, but I wasn't 100% sure where I knew you from. But somebody said that you used to be a police officer at Gateway or something like that. Okay.
The interrogation begins casually as Detective Chamberlain opens with questions about Grant's career. As they're both police officers, he assumes he can strike an immediate middle ground with him, building trust between them and hopefully getting him to relax so he'd give up information easier. A strategy that he'd soon find out had the opposite effect. Grant is then read his rights, but decides this is where he's going to start making it difficult for the detectives.
Here's the thing. I want to talk to you about what you've done today. Okay? Can you just take...
Hey guys, sorry, I had to do something and it took way longer than I expected. Let's get back into this.
Take me through when you woke up this morning to...
them and hopefully getting him to relax so he'd give up information.
To what I'm here for and things.
Up until this point, Grant hasn't been told what he's been brought in for, and states that he's feeling sickly given the circumstances he's been put into. Given his disturbing body language, he may also be feeling exposed and somewhat inferior due to being the suspect of a case instead of the detective for the first time in his life.
So you don't want to explain what you've done today? Did you? Is there a reason behind that?
What was the first thing said? I have the right to remain silent.
Okay. So you're telling me that you don't want to talk to me right now? Okay, cool. Hang tight right here for just a few minutes, okay?
As is normal in a case like this, the detectives leave the room for a few minutes to talk about how they're going to handle the interview. And not only does it give them time to formulate their approach, but it also gives the suspects time alone to worry about what could be going on and form anxiety regarding their situation. At the same time, though, it may also give the suspect a moment to collect their thoughts and generate their own story and approach to the interview, putting the detectives on the back foot instead.
Yeah, especially for Grant, who is an actual former police chief and that. He knows how the fuck to do this, so this was probably actually a bad idea. I get why he did it and why they had to do it, but this was a bad idea.
By the way, I'm Detective Cordier. I think we've met once before.
Probably so.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if I scared you at the beginning or what, but that's why I was trying to, and I can't... You see the position that I'm in. I can't tell you why you're here, but at the same time, I need to rule you out into something. Does that make sense?
When the detectives re-enter the room, they try an obviously different approach, this time attempting to set Grant at ease, stating that they just need to clear him from any wrongdoing, and then he's free to go on his way. Many people would, at least subconsciously, be inclined to open up a little more in an attempt to get out of there as soon as possible. But Grant has other ideas.
Because Grant's fucking smarter than the average person. He knows what the fuck to do. He knows every strategy for this. In all honesty, probably there's no way to really dare handle it. Just be fucking open and front. It's like, yeah, we know a guy was shot. We know a vehicle was there. It matches yours. That's all I need to know what you've done. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I believe you've done it. I believe you've done it, and you're not going to tell me what you did today, so I'm going to kind of go into the assumption I'm right here, right? You know what I'm saying? So, if you're going to tell me what happened there, I'm going to find another way, but if you don't tell me what you've done today and you can't, help me rule you out, at the moment, I'm just going to look for stuff to arrest your ass with. I'm going to try to make sure you get arrested, because I know you did it. I know you shot this person. I don't know why. Maybe you're grumpy today. Maybe something else is going on, but I'm going to make sure I get you. Just be open right in front of them.
Would you be willing to talk to me about your day, knowing that I need to rule you out of something, or like I'm just, if you didn't do anything wrong today, you have nothing to worry about?
Yes, I would have liked to, but before the rights were read, so
okay,
not knowing what's going on.
Yeah, and you understand as a detective, we read those rights to everybody who comes in here. It's not just you. It happens to everybody that walks through this room and talks to us.
As a former police officer, Grant is fully aware of all of this. He knows everybody that's interviewed, innocent or not, has to be read these rights, which essentially completely invalidates this as the real reason that he isn't talking. He's just using it as an excuse to refuse to talk, and possibly to even stall for time.
I guess my question is this, knowing what I just told you, I guess if it was me and I was, if I was in your position, I'd be like, hey, James, I did this, or Grant, I did this, I was at, here, and here, and I would just be done with it. But at this point, like, I can't clear you from this because you could still potentially be a suspect. I don't know if I'm not explaining it right or what is going on here.
Fine. I just have to, once the rights have been read, I have to, it says I have the right to be silent.
Yes. Okay. Just tell me this. I know you were a police officer before, right? You're a police officer in Gateway? It's an easy yes or no.
I'm being silent.
Well, I can see that. We can do this all night. I mean, it doesn't bother me. You're going to continue to be a suspect until I find out otherwise.
Okay.
Unfortunately for the detectives, Grant is exercising perfect form within this interrogation. Yep. Refusing to talk greatly hinders the investigation.
Because you don't know how many detectives and how many people from police we've watched in Bargain who just cave so much and don't know how to make it so they're innocent. If they are innocent, or make it seem like they're innocent. Grant immediately knew don't talk. He knew how to act. He doesn't act super nervous. He's just not talking, not answering, not doing anything.
As a whole, and completely prevents the detectives from making progress, all while being completely legal. This is why Detective Chamberlain is starting to appear visibly annoyed and decides to take a break from the interrogation, as letting emotions take control in an investigation like this can be extremely dangerous for the detectives. But, once again, this time alone can also give the suspects the chance to come up with a plan.
Hello, I need to go.
You need to go where?
Home or get ready for work in a little bit.
Okay, we'll just have a seat and I'll get it for you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Hey, Brian.
Yes, sir.
The other officer told me you want to talk to me again. What's going on?
I'm just ready to go.
Okay. And I'm not ready for you to go yet, so you're not going to be able to go. I've got other things that I'm doing right now, so.
I was gonna go.
Oh, no, you're not going to
tell
go.
you that.
Okay. Yeah, no, you're not.
But I will. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oddly enough, in many other investigations like this, now is around the time where an officer may attempt to come to a decision regarding the suspect. The interview is obviously at a complete standstill and no progress is being made in any direction. The standard protocol would be to either gather the information needed to charge the suspect for a crime or release them based on a lack of evidence. But whether the detective thinks he can extract more information or if it was an ego-based decision, Grant is told to stay and continue the interrogation. The police then try to take some time to piece together more of the story, talking to witnesses to try and place Grant at the scene of the crime. Despite his silence being perfectly legal and acceptable, it greatly increases the detective's suspicion towards him.
Yep.
Suspicion that's only heightened when Grant's...
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's legal or not, but my brain, it wouldn't rule you out. Just because you're being silent doesn't rule you out. As the guy did, because in my mind, if I know I'm not done anything, and you go, what have you done today? I'd be like, this, and this. You just name it off. Right? Unless you like need something at a certain time. People like, where were you at? Specifically 5:15 p.m. or something like that. I have no fucking clue. I don't know exactly what I was. Probably was doing this, but I couldn't tell you. Like I couldn't tell you exact time wise. You know what I mean? Like exact times, I can tell you a roundabout time, but.
Wife says that his only alibi was that she thought he was spreading grass seeds at the time of James's death. All signs point towards Grant, and Detective Chamberlain goes back in for round 3.
Detective Cordero is talking to your wife right now. I talked to her a little bit, so I kind of got a timeline of where you were and where you weren't today. We all know what happened, okay? I'm not trying to get you in any trouble. I'm not trying to get her in any trouble. You got a little daughter, 16, who needs her parents, okay? I don't know if you've had a problem with this guy for a while, and this was an accident, or you maliciously chased him down, or what happened. But if I don't get your side of the story, I won't ever know. We're writing a book. You got chapter 1, you got chapter 2, and chapter 3. Chapter 1 is what happened today, what started out today, how your day started. Chapter 2 is what led up to the incident, and chapter 3 is you telling me about what happened to lead you up to that. I know you went to eat, out tonight. I know what you said at dinner. I know that you went to Lowe's afterwards. I know everything, but I don't know what caused the incident. And if I don't know that, I've got to assume the worst. I'll let you think about it. I'll give you one more chance here in a few minutes, and I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I'm telling you that.
Well, what happened?
I know, you know. We have witnesses that put you there. They physically ID'd you. The 2 cars that drove by. Look, man, I just want to know why it happened. I'm going to sleep good tonight regardless. I don't think you will.
At the time of the murder, when the 2 cars were parked up beside each other, the man in the white Chevrolet waved the passerby past before the gun was fired. As they passed, they were able to get a good look at the driver. And unfortunately for Grant, it was Andrew Tillman, another resident of the small town who had known him since he was a child, and was hence able to undoubtedly place him at the scene of the...
Oh, yeah, Grant, you're kind of in a position of a dude who knows you for so long, since you were a child, is the one that sees you. You're fucked, bro. There's no way he would not know you.
a crime as the gun went off. Both Grant and Chamberlain know without a doubt what happened to James, but Grant also knows that his only chance of escaping is to continue to remain silent and pray that they can't gather the evidence they need. The detectives are now forced to try almost anything they can think of to get movement out of Grant, starting with allowing him to see his wife and daughter in hopes that it will invoke some sort of emotional reaction within him and get him to talk.
Your wife's about to leave. She wanted to give you a hug before she left. Are you good with that?
Me too. Okay.
All right, I'll be back in a few minutes. Thank you.
Unfortunately, even this doesn't work. So instead, Detective Cordiero decides to return alone with a more calm and sympathetic demeanor in a second attempt to build trust with Grant. Often, male suspects are more likely to build a subconscious connection with female detectives due to them often thinking that they're less threatening and more understanding. Realistically, this is the last option the detectives have.
Alright, get ready to think about laying down up on that desk, but it looks awful hard.
Yeah, I don't know if you'll be any more comfortable up there than what you are now. Can you help me understand how we got to this point?
I don't know.
I don't know. Man, I remember being on patrol and running into you one night. Help me out on a call back then.
Oh.
It was way back in, I guess almost 3 years now.
Well.
Two.
Yeah,
something
so.
like that. Yeah, something like that.
You guys are always good to help us, help me too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brad, you was always right there, man.
Cordiero opens up with an anecdote about how Grant apparently backed her up on a case 3 years ago. Even though he doesn't necessarily remember it, this will give him the idea that Cordiero will be even more sympathetic and helpful towards him as he's done her a favor in the past. It also allows them to continue reminiscing about their time on the force and the people they've worked with, further strengthening the subconscious bond Grant will be creating.
I just don't understand how we got to this.
Y'all underestimating the smartness of Grant. He knows everything. He has figured this all out. He has figured every little nook and cranny out. He knows every trick y'all are pulling. I'm sorry, I'm almost out of Grant here. I know what he did was terrible. He shot a guy. I know that. But like in the interrogation, I know he did. He's gonna get charged no matter what. In this case, I've seen a man who's figured out the justice system better than probably most, and he did it. And he knows exactly how to do this, and just seeing two officers get incredibly frustrated with him is hilarious to me. So, for the interrogation part, I'm almost out of Grant. I know he's gonna get charged either way, though. So.
At this point.
Yeah, me neither.
You're willing to talk.
I'm just ready to go to bed.
I don't blame you. Me too. Me too. And we could do that. You just talk to me.
Well, I just have to, since you read those rights, I have to do the right.
Well, what's the difference?
You know the difference.
Regardless of something happened or not, and if it did, if it was an accident, well, tell me. Like, let me help me help you. Like, I want to know what I can do or what happened today to be able to explain it later.
I don't know what happened today. I just need to.
You know, people are gonna have questions. Your family.
Well, I have questions.
Well, exactly.
So
why can't we figure this out together?
Cordiero is making a conscious effort to use inclusive language, such as, "We will figure this out together." This and her open and expressive body language are both techniques she's using to make Grant feel more relaxed, and as though he's part of the solution, not the problem. She's also making every effort to be nice to Grant, in hopes that maybe he'll finally open up to her, or at least give her a way in.
We can start from the very beginning. I mean, I know you probably slept in because you work nights. I work nights. Trust me, I worked nights for almost 4 years. I understand how that sleep schedule is.
yeah, I was asleep, so
So,
messed up.
did you sleep in today? Yeah, I bet you did. You could have got to work tonight, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah. What time did you get up?
noonish.
Around noon. That's usually what time I got up too. Did you watch anything good on TV? Usually that's what I do. I'd eat and watch TV. I'll woke myself up a little bit. Anything good?
Same old stuff
Oh yeah?
on TV.
You watch the same episodes? Or like, do you have a specific TV show you would wake up and watch?
Well, we watched, my wife always has it on, I can't remember what channel it's called, right now, TV Land.
Oh, okay. I haven't really watched any of that. I couldn't even tell you what it was about. Is your wife like that?
Oh, yeah, I think she'd better watch other stuff, but that's
Yeah.
It might not be about the case, but finally, Grant is talking, and Cordero has found her way in. If she can keep the flow of this conversation up,
There was no way you're going to. I'm telling you, once you go about that case, you even switch it, he's going to drop right back down and not talking. I'm telling you, I know this. I know, I can see them, I can see it in his eyes. He knows the game.
she might be slowly able to extract information from him even without him knowing. Talking about specifics such as TV shows and sleep schedules, even that could lead to catching him in a lie, and placing him in certain places at certain times. But most importantly, she's building a connection with him and continuing to let him talk, which increases the chance that he either slips up or decides to make it easier on the detectives and answer a question. But predictably, as soon as Cordero started asking him to talk about the case again, he shut down once more.
What did I tell you? I knew he was going to do that. I predicted that easily. You know why I predicted that? Because I know a man who's got this figured out. I know when a man's got it figured out, and this man's got it figured out.
Refusing to answer any more questions and staying silent.
I think you have a lot to live for. Beautiful family, who I've had the privilege of talking to. The way I look at it is you're a man. Men face their mistakes and they own up to them. And they figure out what happened and figure out how to solve it and move on. Like I said, I'm honestly here to help you. I want you to understand that. I wouldn't spend my time in here with you if I didn't. And that something happened today that needs to be explained. Did you make a mistake today?
Even after reminding him of his family, Grant doesn't move an inch. Again, realizing that his only chance of being let off is to not speak and hope they don't find anything.
I like you. I like this fella that was a detective here. And I don't care about any of that and stuff. And I just don't know how to I haven't had this happen before. Being brought in and interrogated for something. So I really don't care, but I just don't know how to be silent. Sitting over here looking like a jerk.
No, you're not. Honestly, you were far from that. You're very polite. Don't you know why you're here?
I appreciate you guys, and I'm just gonna get a lawyer.
Yeah, it's up to you.
But
You can either,
obviously something's going on, and I need one.
I just want to hear your side, but
I want to get a lawyer.
After hours of almost pointless back and forth, Grant finally asks for a lawyer, meaning the detectives can no longer question him, and concludes the interrogation. But this is far from where the story ends.
Oh, I knew.
Between this interrogation and the final court hearing, Grant and his lawyer both realized that there was simply no way he was going to be released scot-free.
Just like the lawyer went up to him and like, listen, Grant. And he's like, no, I'm just going back. And he's like, listen, Grant, you gotta talk, man. Listen, man. You ain't have no idea. I just heard it, saw all the evidence. Boy, you're fucked. Well, man, you're fucked. You have no chance. He's like, what do you mean? And like, the guy saw you clear as day. The man who recognized you from your childhood, who has known you from your childhood, recognized you, Grant. Your wife doesn't know what you were. It's your car. There was literally nothing I can get you out of this.
Not only was there a man at the scene of the crime who all but saw him pull the trigger, people were also starting to realize that he'd actually either been fired or resigned from 3 different police force jobs before becoming the chief of police in his hometown.
Yeah.
So, on October 16th, 2017, he pleaded guilty to the first-degree murder, but refused to reveal his motive, leaving each member of James Appleton's family without closure to this day. However, as Grant was being prosecuted, a shocking revelation was made that turned him, a murderer, into a senseless monster of a human being. As his DNA was being taken, they realized it was already in the system, under an unknown name, for a crime committed almost 20 years ago.
What?
In November of 1997, a teacher at Frank Tillery Elementary School went to the teacher's lounge bathroom only to be met by a man brandishing a gun that forced her into a stall. The man then raped her and fled, taking care not to touch anything.
Oh my god. What an evil bastard this guy is. I didn't know this part. Oh my god, I'm no longer on Grant's side. Fuck that guy.
Or leave evidence behind, except for the he left on her clothes. Local police did everything they could to identify the perp, but after 20 months of effort, the investigation went cold until 20 years later when Grant Hardin's DNA was found to be a perfect match. And because Rogers police had obtained a John Doe warrant back in 2003, allowing them to arrest an unknown suspect and bypass the statute of limitations, he was hit with the 14-year sentence for his on top of the 21 years for the murder of James Appleton. And as such, Grant Hardin was sentenced to 35 years in prison.
Fucking A. Fucking A. I love that. So there's a John Doe warrant, which means they can arrest anyone who they think does it, and there's no statute of limitations. Fucking brilliant.
Meaning that he'll likely live out the rest of his life behind bars.
He probably thought he would no longer be able to arrest for that earlier crime because of statute of limitations, not knowing they made it so like didn't matter what time it was, they would go arrest him.
But Grant isn't the only example of a killer cop that almost got away with it. For an even more clear-cut example, let's take a look at William Talley's case.
Was it Kelly? Yeah, right now you're charged with murder, and it is Kelly.
On the 11th of May 2019, police received a worrying phone call explaining that former police sergeant William Talley had been in an argument with his girlfriend, Kelly Levinson. At some point during the fight, he fired gunshots at her. William quickly left the scene, stealing Kelly's truck, but was worried he may have done more damage than he realized.
So I don't know anything since then.
So nobody's here been injured?
No, that's what I told him when I called. He told me that he was in Dover.
The police had to immediately treat this like a crime scene and decided to search the house to ensure Kelly's safety. There was one thing on the officers' minds, and they were all silently pleading that they wouldn't find her dead.
Deputy Brown, who used to work for the There's a dog in there. Yep, she's right there. Sorry to get mad.
Upon entering the house, evidence of some kind of physical altercation was scattered throughout. As they entered the kitchen, though, they would find Kelly's dead body lying on the ground. With all the evidence the police had, it wasn't difficult for them to determine their main suspect.
Oh no.
But catching him was
Hell, he even told his neighbor he thinks he killed her. I mean, that's pretty easy to figure out what happened there.
another matter. They knew that William had received both police and SWAT training, so he'd be difficult to catch. However, all of a sudden, police received a phone call informing them William had gotten into a car crash. The cops rushed to the hospital where they found their number one suspect waiting for them, bruised and bloodied.
We're gonna take care of you now.
Once William was discharged from the hospital, he was immediately brought to an interrogation room where the investigation would truly begin.
Can I ask what my charges are? Yeah, right now you're charged with murder. You're charged with violation of oath of office, and you're charged with possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime. Who? That's what we're hoping you can tell us. Maybe once we start talking about it a little bit. It wasn't Becky, was it? Was it Kelly? Well, was it cop?
William mentions two names here, Becky and Kelly. Of course, we know Kelly to be his girlfriend, but William was actually married to another woman named Rebecca Talley who he'd been cheating on. William obviously appears dazed and confused, but whether this is just an act or not is another question. He'd spent multiple days in the hospital and was discharged after being medically cleared, so it's unlikely he'd still be this out of it. Regardless, it at least seems to be keeping him calm. At least for now.
And you can sign this.
Nobody's talking with me about things.
Well, we're gonna get to that. That's what we're hoping to get to.
No, I'm not talking until somebody talks to me.
I can tell you who, if we can get started there. And it is Kelly.
No!
Don't do that.
No! No!
Tally, calm down. Tally. Bill. Bill.
No! No!
There's a small chance William really is this distraught over Kelly's death, but he was completely unaware of what he was doing at the time. So it seems more likely that he's actually just using this as a guise to vent and scream about how his life is pretty much finished and over a small argument with his mistress. He's also likely frustrated that he got caught so easily. Remember, this is a man with SWAT and police training. He knows how to evade the cops, but almost instantly after going on the run, his plans were shut down in an incredibly unpredictable way. William
It's because he's a shitty driver. That's what happened. He gave him a shitty driver.
manages to calm down while the detective talks to him, but only for a few short seconds.
Bill, let me get you some napkins. Bill. Bill, no. Stop, Bill. Relax. Bill, stop.
It's all unnecessary, Bill. If you don't want to talk to us, that's fine, but let's not do this, okay? Okay? Just let's not do this.
Who else to guard it?
Right now you're hurting yourself.
I don't care about me.
Well,
who else got hurt?
There's no one
I
else.
keep hearing when people whisper, or whispers.
Okay, well, what whispering do you hear?
No, tell me the truth.
Okay, there's no one else hurt, okay?
What you're watching is a man who knows without a doubt that he's guilty, doing everything he can to try and find a way out. He's panicking, and the cops were probably extremely relieved when William finally asked for a lawyer and put an end to this dramatic interrogation. However, this obviously didn't help him at all, as the detectives already
No, they don't need anything from him. They immediately knew what he was doing.
He had all the evidence they needed to convict him, and William Talley was sentenced to life behind bars.
Damn right he was.
Despite William being a local cop and even knowing some of the officers involved, this case was handled perfectly. A stark contrast to that of Matthew Boynton, whose case was so weird and corrupt that the cops ended up investigating a shooting that never even happened.
You know you can't give a sworn statement and lie on it. Why would you do that, Matthew?
On the 15th of April 2016, police found Jessica Boynton hidden in the closet of her home with a gunshot wound to the head and a police-issued firearm in her hand. The county sheriff reportedly ruled her dead at the scene, but there was a problem. Jessica was neither dead nor shot. After she was rushed to the hospital, the ER found no entrance wounds or bullets. Instead, they found evidence of a blunt force attack to the back of her head. This case is already incredibly confusing.
What? Hold on. What? So, they ruled her dead. She wasn't dead. They said she was shot. There's no entrance wounds of her being shot. She just got hit in the back of the head. Why did officers kill her? Because there's clearly this more than he did. He didn't know. What? The officers found her at the scene alive and killed her? What?
But what's worse is that the police's #1 suspect, Matthew Boynton, told cops that he received a text from Jessica saying she was about to commit suicide. After rushing home, he heard 2 gunshots coming from the house and called the police. Matthew was taken to the police station and interrogated, but was caught lying about a vital piece of evidence. This is where we join the detectives as they try to unwrap this baffling web of lies.
There's so much wrong here, and I guarantee you, what the fuck happened here? There's so much that misunderstood. I still think, if I remember correctly, this case is still not solved either.
Do you recognize that bag?
Yes, that bag that Jessica let me use to put all my gym stuff in when we used to be together.
Okay, so when's the last time you saw that bag?
It's been a long time. Like I said, when I used to work out at, there's 2 gyms in Thomaston. I don't remember the name of it. I used that one, and I had a gray Nike bag I used to work out in. So I interchanged my stuff like protein drinks, powder shakes like pre-workout, workout shorts, pants, shoes, whatever. I put it in that bag or my Nike bag.
Suspects who aren't telling the truth tend to over-explain as they feel they have something to prove to detectives. If they can give lots of information over, they think it'll convince the detective that they're not lying, as they couldn't possibly make all of that up. However, in actuality, suspects telling the truth will give a more instinctual, simplified answer to the question because they don't have to think about it as much. Bear that in mind as the interview continues.
So when's the last time that you saw that bag?
I mean, it's been a while. Like, I don't know an exact date. I don't know. I think my stepdad, he had it in the white trailer, and that's been a while. And he brought it, but I haven't been through it or anything. Put it in my storage thing in my house, which is like when you pull in the driveway. It's a little storage thing on the right. You open the door and it's got all my stuff in there. I declared that some of it out recently. That was tossed in there, but I mean, it's in there with a bunch of my stuff, like a brown tub I used to keep in my old patrol car with gym stuff in it and work stuff.
Remember, that answer was given in response to the question, when was the last time you saw this bag? Something that could have been answered in a single sentence. The detectives already knew that Matthew was lying about this bag, as that's the whole reason he was brought to this second interrogation. But now they're 100% sure he's hiding something, and they're about to call him out on it.
All right, Matthew. I've known you a long time. When y'all were in the process of moving, and you moved into the house that you're at now, your residence, did you or did you not see this bag?
Yes, sir. It's in my storage room in the garage.
Now, why would I be holding a picture of this bag?
I guess because Jessica brought it into you.
Why would Jessica have it if you had it at your house?
I don't know. I guess somebody got it from my garage or my shed.
Who would have got it?
There's a couple of people.
Okay.
I don't know
All right.
exactly who.
The bag was completely filled with female clothes. This is one photo of it. That's not yours.
No.
This whole thing might not seem like a big deal, but it's actually the root of a much bigger problem. This bag, along with everything in it, belonged to Jessica. So when it was discovered in Matthew's possession after he told police that he'd handed all of her belongings over, it confirmed that he had been lying under oath. Again, a small issue at first, but now that the detectives know he's comfortable lying about this, they know that almost every piece of information he's given them could be completely untrue.
The bag was turned into us. We have possession of the bag. We have evidence that says it came out of your storage room. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Is there anything you'd like to say?
No, sir.
Do you believe that statement to be accurate and true?
Not now.
Did you believe it then?
No, sir.
Matthew has now essentially confessed to stealing the bag of Jessica's belongings and lying under oath. There is the question of why he did this, but we haven't even gotten started on the assault part of the case. Why Jessica was found unconscious in their closet after allegedly texting Matthew she was going to shoot herself. As it turns out, though, the police would also never move on to that part of the case, and it remained completely unanswered. Matthew was charged with stealing and lying under oath, and after being placed on administrative leave, he resigned from the force, but went completely uncharged for whatever happened on the night of April 15th. Many people...
We don't know. Here's the thing. I don't even know if it's him that killed her. Because if he was there, police showed up and she was still alive, and then suddenly she's dead. Look, I don't know if it's even fair to say that he's the one that killed her. There could be others that there could be a whole opposite done killing.
People have been left wondering why that may be, but the most obvious answer lies in police corruption, and the facts that the county sheriff just so happened to be Matthew's granddad, the same sheriff who lied by pronouncing Jessica dead at the...
This whole department needs to be investigated. This whole department needs to be investigated. This whole sheriff's department needs to be this whole fucking case needs to be relooked at by an outside force. This is insane. This is clearly the most greatest protection you can find.
The scene. What's worse is that Jessica's head trauma left her without any memory of that night, so it's likely this case will remain unsolved forever. But people thought the same about the murder of Sherry Rasmussen, which lay unsolved for 23 years, before new information revealed that the culprit was actually one of the police force's best detectives.
Now you're accusing me of this? Is that what you're saying?
After decades of investigations, DNA evidence revealed that Stephanie was very likely the culprit of a murder committed in 1986. Because of the high-stakes nature of the case, the detectives made sure to meticulously plan this interrogation. Stephanie was a really successful detective herself, and she had recently received recommendations for her good work on a theft case. So the detectives used this, and brought her in under the guise that they needed help with a case.
I don't want to talk about this in the squadron because I don't know who people are listening. And if we go to my side, everybody's always wondering what everybody else is doing. Okay.
An interrogation room is a strange place for such a conversation to take place, so to put her mind at ease, detectives told her this was the place they'd least be likely to be overheard, as the case details were strictly confidential. Sherry Rasmussen's body had been found at her home after being shot 3 times. At the time, police suspected the murder was a result of a burglary gone wrong, but the case went cold when they couldn't identify the suspect. However, 23 years later, when revisiting the case, detectives found evidence that led them towards Stephanie, a girl who had been trapped in a love triangle with Sherry and her husband, John Rutten. So the detectives decided to bring up John's name to see how she'd react.
Were you guys friends? Close friends?
Yeah, we're very close friends. I mean, what's this all about?
It's a case we're working on. It involves John, and in there's notes and stuff that he knew you and stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, we were good friends. Lived in the dorms for 2 years.
Was there ever any relationship or anything that developed between you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we dated. You know, I mean, what's this all about?
Well, it's relating to his wife.
Both the detectives and Stephanie have tried to seem as friendly and relaxed as possible around each other, but Stephanie is obviously starting to get very anxious at this point.
I mean, in fairness, right? This wasn't gonna be friendly for long. This is a very tough situation they're in. This was not gonna be friendly for long.
Even though the detectives gave a somewhat believable excuse, she is now in an interrogation room faced by 2 detectives being questioned about a girl she supposedly murdered 20 years earlier. Her breathing has become faster, and her language is defensive, and her movements have become more erratic.
And you're right.
I mean, if you guys are claiming that I'm a suspect, then, you know, I got a problem with, with that.
Okay.
Okay? So, you know, if you're doing this as an interrogation, you're saying, hey, I'm a suspect. Well, now I got a problem with, now you're accusing me of this? Is that what you're saying?
Obviously, you know about all the DNA stuff and things of the nature that, gets done on cases nowadays. If we asked you for a DNA swab, would you be willing to give us one?
Maybe. Because now I'm thinking I probably need to talk to a lawyer.
Stephanie chooses to provide DNA evidence, hoping her willingness to help out would ultimately prove her innocence. But, unfortunately for her, just 5 minutes later, the detectives decide they've heard enough and put her in cuffs. Months later, after a long and arduous trial, a decision was made by the jury.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Stephanie Eileen Lazarus, guilty of the crime of murder of Sherry Rasmussen. We further find the murder was of the first degree.
After hiding it for 23 years, Stephanie Lazarus was finally found guilty of murder and sentenced to 27 years behind.
I wonder if people become police officers. Like in this case, she murdered. I don't know if she was a cop when she murdered her, or if she wasn't. If she wasn't, I wonder if she became a cop hoping to help to make it so she wasn't caught. If she was, I don't know what the fuck she was thinking then. I don't know what. It worked. She thought she'd be safe for 20-some years.
Bars. Sometimes, though, it's not this easy to get a story straight and catch a cop out in a lie. In this case, the officers had to decide on the spot where to arrest a fellow cop for murder or let him walk free.
I think I murdered a guy tonight.
At 1 a.m. on the 28th of July.
What? Hold on, don't, no, if you say that to someone, yeah, they're gonna arrest you.
Police were called by a taxi driver after a man started banging on his window, begging him to call the cops. The man, later identified as Ohio Police Chief Chad McCardle, claimed he was stabbed by a group of people, but when cops arrived, his story changed drastically.
3 guys got me in the car and pulled me in and they drove me south.
Where'd they stab you with?
Right here. He hit me probably 3 or 4 times.
I just called
hard, and then he got me right here.
Do you have any idea who it is? You were in
Spanish.
a car?
They pulled me into a car.
They pulled you into a car.
Here's what up, dude. I'm a cop. I don't know what your guys' problem is, but...
Okay.
For some reason, Chad decided to start being slightly passive-aggressive to the cops, despite them not having any problem with him whatsoever. It's clear that something might be bothering Chad, and it's obviously not the 4 stab wounds that he claims to have sustained. Luckily, it doesn't take long for him to spill the truth.
They took me to some alley, they started kicking me in the face. I grabbed a stick and started stabbing me. I'm pretty sure I killed one of them.
You think you killed one of them?
Yeah. He like came up and kicked me in the face. I was like, all right, let's go. I broke the branch off and started just stabbing. I don't want dude to be dead, but don't around with me, dude.
What started out as a simple call has suddenly turned into something incredibly serious that's gonna be pretty hard to solve. As it stands, their only witness is also their primary suspect, but they've also got a gang of people and a dead body to find. This one isn't gonna be easy, or at least that was the case until they found this in the alley where it all happened.
Need you come out here. What's your name?
Joey.
Joey, did you hear any commotion going on? Like a fight or something that's broke out?
Yeah.
Come out here for me, so I can see you.
I was just hiding from him.
You were hiding from him?
Yeah.
So what did you hear?
I was standing right there, and he kicked me in the back out of the blue.
Kicked you?
Yeah.
Did you do anything to him when he kicked you?
No.
No?
I hit the ground. Matter of fact, my back is...
So when he came up and attacked you, did he say anything?
He said, I'm gonna kill you.
At this point, things aren't looking good for Chad. On the bright side, nobody's dead, so he might just be able to dodge a murder charge. But by all accounts, he has still just beaten up a homeless guy for no obvious reason. So now it's up to the cops to decide what to do.
Can't give any description of all these people. It says he stabbed him multiple times. There's absolutely 0 stab wounds on him whatsoever. All we can corroborate is that he beat this poor guy up in an alley for no reason. Who wants to press charges?
Put your hands on your back. We're going to detain you right now. Cool. Another investigation.
Am I being charged with something?
No, right now you are detained.
I think I murdered a guy.
It seems all his years of police work haven't taught him to remain silent, as at this rate, he might end up talking himself.
I think he's drunk. He's 100% drunk, because he doesn't know what the fuck's going on.
Back into a murder charge.
Because he's still convinced he murdered someone despite the fact there's no one he murdered.
Currently, Chad is being charged with 1 count of misdemeanor battery and has been placed on paid administrative leave from his position back in Ohio. The maximum charge he's facing is 1 year in jail and a $1,000 fine. But at least McCardle remained calm and let the officers do what they had to do. Corporal Bertzik, though, was a different matter, and his position as a superior...
Okay, if you're gonna try to present this guy as a bad guy, I'm not even gonna watch this too. We're gonna wait to the end of this. We're gonna skip to this one. Because the other one, I'm not gonna let him present that Scott guy as a bad guy. Because he isn't. In this scenario, like, he's not even in, I would put in the description of corrupt. He's a bad fucking cop who made mistakes, but he's not corrupt. The other guy is, but I'm just sick of seeing that one. So we're gonna move on to the other ones.
In 2021, a resident of Harnett County, North Carolina reported her dirt bike as stolen. What followed was a series of events that led to an innocent 14-year-old being treated like a dirty criminal.
Okay. Do me a favor, man. Go ahead and put your hands behind your back for me, okay?
16 days after the dirt bike was reported missing, it appeared on Facebook Marketplace, and when the owner saw this, they set up a meeting with the seller in order to catch them out. When they arrived, they were met by 14-year-old Malcolm, who did indeed have their dirt bike. They agreed to a deal and told Malcolm that they were headed out to an ATM machine to get the cash out, when in fact, they were calling 911. The problem here was Malcolm was completely innocent and had bought the dirt bike off the true criminal in good faith without realizing it was stolen. He had made a hobby hobby of fixing up bikes and selling them on, an impressive hustle for one so young. So you can imagine his
Dad's a smart hustle for a 14-year-old. Very impressive.
surprise when instead of finding himself in profit, he found himself in handcuffs.
Okay, what's your name? Malcolm. What's your last name? Malcolm Ziegler?
Yeah.
Okay, you got your ID on you?
No, I do not.
Okay.
But that wasn't us riding. We haven't rode it all this week.
Where do you stay? You stay here?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I haven't rode it all today. He literally just came by here.
Who's that guy? Who's that guy running down the street?
That's his friend. They stay somewhere up there.
Okay. Do me a favor, man. Go ahead and put your hands behind your back for me, okay?
Right there.
You're in possession of a stolen motor vehicle.
What? What?
Yeah, do you want to go and verify that for me?
Yeah. What?
Do me a favor, man. Just come to my car right over here, okay?
What the? Can I get the bill of sale and show you that I bought it?
Yeah. We'll get all that taken care of, man. But what I need to do is just hang tight for me right here, okay?
The officer places him under arrest without verifying any of the facts. He had no way of knowing if Malcolm was in fact in possession of stolen goods and spent no time attempting to hear his side of the story.
Well, I'm going to work on getting you out of there soon, okay? Just keep cooperating with me. I appreciate it. And we'll get everything squared away.
Stole before. I don't.
Okay. And sir,
I can try to find the bill of sale. I have
sir,
a lot
and I'm not saying that you stole it. Right now, what we've got is we just got a stolen motor vehicle. We're not saying that you stole the vehicle. Okay, I'm not saying that at all. Okay.
Yes, sir.
But it still is a crime to be in possession of a stolen motor vehicle.
The officer claims it is illegal to be in possession of a stolen vehicle, which may be true in most cases, but not here. If a suspect willingly buys or owns an item that they know is stolen, then that is a crime. But since Malcolm was ignorant to this fact, he was totally innocent, and this arrest could prove to be extremely unlawful.
I can tell you. I can show you if you can go. You can go on my phone. I can show you exactly what I bought it from.
Okay.
We met at the Lillington Presbyterian Church.
Okay.
If you know what that is.
Okay.
Lillington Presbyterian Church.
Well, your dad's coming over here right now.
It was about 8:30 when we met.
Hey, how you doing, sir? Hey,
Dad, I need that bill of sale.
Reason all this is going down, that vehicle's been entered as stolen at National Crime Information Center. Do you have the bill of sale by any chance, sir?
I don't know where it is. It's either in my room or in the garage. You gotta tell me where it is.
As Malcolm's father tries to find proof his son bought the bike legally, two other responding officers begin to voice their concerns over what is happening in front of their very eyes.
Is he detained or 1095?
From what I heard, 1095, and that was before I even verified the VIN.
Okay.
But
that's why my first thing I asked.
That's what I now I'm not 100% certain, but I believe I heard essentially 1095 before I was even able to verify the VIN.
Eventually, one of them decides to intervene.
Hey, is he detained or is he?
He's detained right now because he is.
He's 14. He's 14.
Yes.
Okay.
So I already explained to him he's detained right now. I told him that.
So why is he detained?
Because that's a stolen motor vehicle.
Okay. So
I mean, Diggs verified the VIN number, right?
Did you? Is that before all that you verified before you?
I detained him and then we
that's
verified.
why I asked if he was 1095 or detained.
He's detained.
Okay. So obviously he's a juvenile, right?
Yeah.
Ain't no sense having him sit in the car tent with handcuffs on. Where
Okay.
you ain't. If he was 18, and you might be taken to jail for possession of stolen property.
All right.
Different. But you ain't gonna take him to jail, right? It's gonna be a petition.
The officer clearly knows what he's talking about when he explains the difference between detaining an adult and a child. And after urging his fellow officer to reconsider his position, the arresting cop finally comes to his senses. After finally being released, Malcolm found the receipt for the dirt bike and no further action was taken. But his family later released a press conference where they asked for police reform in the wake of another juvenile suffering mistreatment at the hands of law enforcement. But at least that cop was able to keep his hands to himself and didn't resort to violence. A far cry from the actions of this extremely aggressive sergeant.
Never touch me again. Sir. Get the f*** off. Sir.
Sergeant Police had been with the Sunrise Police.
I fucking hate this guy so much. This girl is like, hey, stop trying to like attack this guy, and the guy grabs her by the throat, almost being fucking like, this officer's a fucking asshole.
Police for 20 years, and was about as experienced an officer as you could get, which makes his actions during an arrest in November 2021 even more confusing. When he arrived on the scene, he found his fellow cops in the middle of a struggle.
I can't move, Marshall. Let go. Somebody get in the car. Get in the car. No, he doesn't want in the car. Get in the car. Get in the car. All right, I'm getting in. Get your feet in.
The suspect had been arrested on Sunset Strip after being accused of punching another man, and officers are trying to get him inside the patrol car. But the suspect isn't playing ball, so Sergeant Police decides his 20 years of experience is enough to allow him to push other officers aside and take charge.
Hey, look at me. Look at me. Look at me. You want to play games? You're playing with the wrong mother. What you gotta do, man? You gonna mace me? Look at me, mother.
The suspect decides to comply when the extremely aggressive officer steps in, and you'd think that'd be where the story ends. But for some reason, police just gets angrier and angrier until one noble cop decides.
This is what happened. This is the guy who was just pissed off. I don't know what happened to him today. He was angry, and he just chose to be angry, and he wanted to take it out on this guy. And this girl to stop him, and it showed his anger way beyond control.
That they just can't stand by and watch any longer.
If you ever get disrespectful with my officers, I will remove your soul from your body. Do what you gotta do.
If I was the male guy, oh boy, would a police fight have broken out there once he like grabbed me by the throat? Oh, it's fucking on.
Do what you gotta do. No.
If that happened to me, if I was even there as an officer, my man, me and that dude would be face to face in front of each other. Cause I'd be on fucking sight for that shit. You don't fucking touch a female like that, I don't care who the fuck you are.
Police had to have been having a horrible day, as it was his threats to remove the suspect's soul from his body that prompted the young female officer to pull him back. This clearly angered him even further, leading to him grabbing her by the neck. This was not only illegal and a huge overreaction, but it was also terrifying for the rookie on the receiving end.
Just let it be. We clear? Yes, sir. And I'll see you in about 5 minutes. Can you stop pulling the handcuffs from my wrist? Holding real quick so I can alarm. Acting like I'm running somewhere. I'm right here.
Police was eventually charged with felony battery of a police officer, which comes with a heavy punishment. Predictably, he decided to retire from the Sunrise Police in November.
Fucking better get the fuck away from police officers.
2022, and as of this video's upload, his case is still ongoing. But now it's time to look at the most disgusting corrupt cop of all. An officer so horrible, he managed to accrue 20 felonies, all for crimes against children.
Can I ask, is this something I should have lawyers on?
In April 2020, San Diego police received tips that a man had been engaging in with a local child. 2 months of investigation led directly to Jalen and a mountain of questions that desperately needed answering.
So, I know that I have a lot to delve into, but I really want to get to know you first, if you don't mind.
Definitely.
Okay. So, I'm gonna lean back and get comfortable. Just because, are you comfortable? Do you want to take off your duty belt?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about your upbringing?
Yeah, so I will ask what this is about.
Yeah, so we're looking into some allegations that were made. We're kind of, it started with a Crime Stopper report, so we're just kind of going from there. We did receive a picture that, you know, when we looked into it, it looked similar to you, so I don't know if you can take a look at the picture and just tell me if you've seen this picture before. Oh, I have like 15 million things here. Okay.
As soon as the allegations are brought up, Jalen becomes visibly stressed. He leans forward tentatively in his chair, clasps his hands together softly, and clenches his jaw. It's obvious he's worried about whatever he's about to be shown. The detectives have made it clear that he is not currently being detained and is free to leave at any time. However, she is making a noticeable effort to make him feel relaxed, using a bubbly and friendly persona to put him at ease.
So this picture right here.
Yeah, that's definitely me with the Grossman.
Okay, so this picture right here, how old were you when it was taken?
I don't know, 20?
20? Okay, cool. That makes it very easy. So as far as like the picture, so this photo came up in connection with some allegations about you communicating with a younger female on Snapchat.
Okay. Can I ask, is this something I should have lawyers on?
Jalen is starting to seem more and more stressed. He begins to sway in his chair more and becomes more closed off with his answers. But the pressure he's feeling now is nothing compared to what the detective is about to lay on him.
So, you know, this, like I said, this photo was sent to this person, so they were in possession of it, and we can't find any connection or reason why this photo would end up with this particular person if it wasn't shared by someone you may know or yourself.
I agree, yeah. My wife would have done that, so I don't know why she would share that. So,
well, along with the photo came some additional information about your personal life.
Okay.
And based on some of the information you shared with me today, it seems to add up.
Okay.
The account that shared the photo and the information was called J178211, a seemingly random selection of numbers, until you realize that 17 was his college baseball jersey number, 82 was his high school jersey number, and 2011 was the year he graduated in. If this...
That's fucking smart. I'm gonna be honest, that's pretty smart when it comes to names, then so many things. Connecting all that works very well.
account was operated by a so-called enemy of Jay, they'd sure done their research.
Jay, I'll be very honest, I want to know the truth.
Yeah, no, I've never even heard of that account.
Okay. Have you ever shared any images of your with anyone?
Yeah.
Okay. And how many times would you say you've done that?
A lot.
Did you ever share any videos of...
I have, I don't know what to say when it comes to the fact that he just says a lot. Like, what do you mean by a lot? You just, how many people are you sharing? That's, how many people are you doing that to? What do you mean a lot? That's weird.
You having with anyone?
With anyone? No. I've always had personal videos of me and my wife. That was it. And my ex actually had one, but...
Jalen then rightly decides that he's already answered enough of the detective's questions and asks him for a lawyer. However, unfortunately for him, he's quickly handed a search warrant, allowing the police to seize DNA, his phone, and his car. Police used this to gather a mountain of evidence against Jalen and, just a few weeks later, turned himself in. Jalen was charged with 20 felonies, including engaging in lewd acts with children under the age of 14, pandering children under 16, and engaging in the child under the age of 16. A few months later, he was sentenced to 12 years in prison. But this disturbing act doesn't even compare to the atrocities that Daniel Holtzclaw committed. Daniel was brought in for an...
They definitely saved this guy for last. This is the guy who got 260 years in prison for whatever the fuck this guy did.
Interrogation after a report came in that he'd made an unlawful traffic stop and forced the female driver to remove her clothing and perform on him. What detectives didn't know was that this was just one of dozens of other crimes that Daniel would find himself accused of.
So we have no misunderstanding because, and maybe I didn't key in on some things. I want you to turn in your activity card, walk me through it all again.
Turn in my activity card, I leave out of station, turn off my computer, done for the night, head left to go westbound on 50th from Prospect. About a block down, I see a Grand Prix in the outside lane. I was in the inside lane. Directly in front of me, car swerved. At that time, I kind of fall behind of it. Lincoln, I didn't want to light it up at the stop sign, so I waited till it go forward. And just lit it up just to the west. And then that's when I made the traffic stop.
Daniel recounts his version of events from that night. Cops said that he didn't report on the stop dispatch, run a records check on the driver, or even let them know that he just logged off for the night. But Daniel just explains that everything happened so fast he just forgot to do all of that, and made the traffic stop off the grid. However, Daniel doesn't seem 100% sure while recounting this evening. He takes unusually long breaks between statements and speaks in incomplete sentences. The true reality of cases is that it's almost usually impossible to get a conviction as long as there was no video or photo evidence of the event. The victim barely ever has any ability to prove that the suspect did what they did, as in most places, they are innocent until proven guilty. This is likely why this turned out to be one of 36 charges eventually brought against Daniel, each more disgusting than the last.
CSI is processing your car right now.
Right.
And when we stepped out, they found some pubic hairs right in here. Could they be yours?
No, that's not. I didn't pull my. I didn't do anything right there.
Did she?
No.
But so you think they could be?
No, it's not. No. Nothing of mine.
Your pubes couldn't be?
No.
Right there?
No.
You seem a little extra worried whenever you talked about seeing her boobies.
You
sure she just didn't flash you?
I can't. She did not. I don't want to say I can't recall, but I'm pretty positive she didn't flash.
When I see a pair of titties,
She went like this, but nothing as far as I'm going like crazy looking.
Lifting the shirt.
No, this whole situation and
it's kind of scary.
It is scary, and I don't want my rep to be. Everything's about in law enforcement. 3 years on, I know that, but everything's about your rep.
Absolutely.
And I don't want this to fall on my rep.
Unfortunately for Daniel, though.
Oh, it's gonna fall. Oh, your rep is just gonna be in prison, you fuck. You evil ass fucker.
This absolutely would affect his rep, as the DNA tests on the hair found in the car came back as a perfect match, and statements given by his girlfriend directly contradicted his story. So after the interrogation, he was placed on administrative leave, but just 2 months later, 12 more women came forward with claims, and he was subsequently arrested.
Verdict, count 1, battery. Defendant is guilty of the crime of battery and set punishment at 8 years. Count 2, procuring lewd exhibition. Not guilty of the crime of procuring lewd exhibition. Count 3, burglary in the first degree. Defendant is not guilty of the crime of burglary in the first degree, nor lesser included. Count 4, procuring lewd exhibition. Defendant is guilty of the crime of procuring lewd exhibition, and punishment is set at 5 years.
Daniel was found guilty on 18 of the 36 charges and sentenced to 263 years in prison without the possibility of parole.
Whew, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this reaction video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all for the next one.